forgive me for this trap shit. Sergeant Smack make it backflip. Telly Hank did with the action. With the vital speaking Spanish. Frank Matthews, how I vanish. Poof. Came back like I'm King Tut. Gold BBS is on a beamer. When Fat Cat was 10 queens up. Ball off the profit, not the re-up. Fly like Puerto Rican Jesus. Uptown like I'm Baby May. Just caught a touchdown from the bay.
Hey man, what you doing?
What you mean by what I'm doing?
You just bumped into me.
So move out my way when you see me coming by.
No, you walk around me. This is Lord's territory.
You better walk around.
Hey, here's some Lords right here.
So what? I'm here too.
So what do you mean? Who you with?
Who you think I'm with?
Who you with, man?
The Hawks, sucker.
Hey man, this is Lord's territory, and you got 5 seconds to get off.
I tell you, you start counting to 5 like a sucker.
Bet. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Hey man, hey, I think that's the dude, man, that was messing with little boy, man, in school. Yeah, man, that looked like him, man.
That's right, you right. That's just what he is, a little boy. Fucking with a man.
No, man, you're wrong about that. Little boy got more heart than you'll ever have.
Yeah, well, you can't prove it by me.
Hey, listen. We got a lot of bad blood between us. This is not the time or the place to handle it. No, let's settle it now. Hey, man, you don't hear right, do you?
He here. You not listening, that's what it is. I let it think it didn't happen, I let it think it happen now.
I mean, why don't you stop selling the tickets and forget
He got to die. You understand? So let me get mine first. Then after I get mine, you can do what you want to do.
They came later, you know. All the brothers came out at the same time. But Akbar, man, he was the brother that hooked up. When he hooked up with Sonny, Akbar he wasn't that literate, you know. The brother wasn't that literate. But he was a genius when it came to manipulating them developers and stuff like that, the business community, you know. In order to build these houses, Akbar said, we can't stop from building. He said, I'm going to handle this. And they had to go through him to even get a tire. You know, they couldn't do nothing in Brownsville unless they went to Akbar. But them boys wasn't having it. That's how he got the coalition. He would go all over with his coalition and get work. But when it came to Brownsville, no, he had to go to Akbar. And Sonny had his back on that. But Akbar was a genius when it came to negotiating with them developers. They knew and they respected him. You know, it wasn't about, as long as he walked in the room, everything was peace. But he never bit his tongue. I was never there for any negotiations, things of that nature. Akbar was an awesome brother. He got to work for, he put a lot of brothers to work.
Brownsville was a vibrant community. The community that grew up here was labeled the first American ghetto. Blacks and whites lived here. There were gangs, yet people felt safe. Now, few whites live here. This is one of New York's poorest neighborhoods.
It's Friday night in Brownsville, Brooklyn, and the New York Police Department is out in full force, for good reason. Brownsville is one of New York's bloodiest neighborhoods. Gunshots ring out almost nightly. The neighborhood led the city in murders in 2008 and has one of the highest violent crime rates every year. In the first 6 months of this year, shootings are up 40%.
A 3-year-old girl is the latest victim of gun violence in the city.
Police say she was shot in the shoulder while with her father leaving a daycare center in Brooklyn. CBS 2's Thalia Perez in Brownsville with the latest on this investigation.
We are following breaking news in Brooklyn right now, where police say a man has been grazed in the head by a bullet. Chopper 2 was over the scene at the intersection of Belmont Avenue and Mother Gaston Boulevard in the Brownsville section. Investigators believe the 32-year-old victim was hit in the back of the head and may have been riding that red scooter. He was taken to Brookdale Hospital and is conscious and alert. No word on whether he was the intended target.
The breaking news in the Brownsville section of Brooklyn. One man was killed, another hurt in a shooting at a barbershop.
That scene is at Champion Cuts Barbershop on Chester Street. Eyewitness News reporter Marcus Solis is live with the breaking details. Marcus, good morning.
Good morning, Tony and Michelle. Police still on the scene here, waiting for the crime scene unit to come and process this location. The Champion Cuts barber shop, and you can see in the front window there a couple of bullet holes. That is because the gunman was outside firing in. This happened around 9:30 last night. We are on Chester Street in Brownsville. Police say that gunman started to fire into the barber shop. Inside were two individuals who were struck, a 45-year-old man, another individual. It is unclear whether or not they were targeted. It's believed that they were customers inside of that barber shop. The 45-year-old was struck in the torso. He was pronounced dead at Brookdale Hospital. The other individual was hit in the leg, also taken to Brookdale Hospital, where he is in stable condition. The gunman took off on foot, and police are searching for him as this investigation continues.
Who's number one? Us. Who's number one? Us. How we gonna do it? I figure this way. Now, when we get in there, and when I start rumbling with little boy, then we'll all do it. Me and little boy had it for a long time. We had it in the school. Nigga thought he was bad in the school. You understand? This is where I really want. I just want to kill this nigga. If they jump me, you understand? Do you even see any niggas, any of them crawling up on me? You understand? Fuck it, you're just brave. Cause I don't want to get stabbed in my back or nothing. No, I want to get stabbed with a shot in my back. Right. But they did. If I don't get little boy the way I want to get him, I want him got it. I want him laying out. I want him got it. Cause nigga need to be got. He need to be taken off of here. That's right. Who's number one? Dogs. How we gonna do it? Dogs.
Hey, the nigga whole style is chump. We talking about Brooklyn royalty today. Yo, what up though? It's Shay's Popalot. We back in the town on MOBB business. Now, I'm not sure why it took me so long when it should have probably been one of the first people I covered. But today, I'm going to tell y'all the story of a guy that will begin his life coming out of one of the poorest and most dangerous sections of the city that will go on to be the supreme president, or what some would call a gang leader, to what my belief is the biggest gang in the city's history. And I'm going to explain that further. But he wouldn't stop there. He would go on to land a starring role in one of the biggest black biopics in the 1970s, ultimately translating that into multiple businesses, providing jobs for a lot of black men. Also, while sparking wild rumors of him riding around Brownsville with a horse and a long-nosed revolver, or him going back and forth with the mob over construction deals. Now, the person that I'm talking about is going to be a guy by the name of Derrick Akbar Ford, but some people might know him as Champ from the days when he would rise to the supreme president of the Tomahawks, which was one of the most dominant gangs in New York in the 1970s, probably even going into the 1980s. Now, he's also referred to as a well-loved, well-respected, and even feared man by a lot of the people that speak on him. And a lot of that is going to have to do with the opportunity he provided, how hard he went for the Brownsville section of Brooklyn, and not only the reputation of him, but the reputation of the Tomahawks themselves. Now, we're talking about a time in the city in the 1970s and the 1980s where a lot of the people would describe the city as lawless and something like a cesspool. You got to remember that places like Times Square was filled with X-rated spots and shit like that. Not to mention the crime was through the roof. And at this time, gangs were very prevalent, even though they would have names like the Jolly Stompers and shit like that. I vividly remember my father, rest in peace, Pops, telling me stories about the Tomahawks and him growing up in East New York, going to Thomas Jefferson High School. I'm sure he had his fair share of run-ins with them because that shit is right off Pennsylvania. Brownsville is not too far. And he would describe situations where they would just recruit you in the gang. It ain't like, oh, you want to be down with the gang. It's like they snatching up niggas that didn't even want to be a part of that shit, is how he explained. And to be honest, at that time, I thought like, I wonder if my pops ran home from them niggas a couple times. But after hearing the stories of the previous Supreme President of the Tomahawks, Cato, being arrested on a homicide charge that Akbar was also arrested for, but according to a New York Times article from 1973, he would be provided with bail money from producers that would cast him for a role in the upcoming film, The Educations of Sonny Carlson, that would essentially change Akbar's life. And after putting on what I would say was an Emmy, Golden Globe deserving performance, where he would go on to play the role of a ruthless gang leader in a situation where it seemed like art was imitating life. Now, in a time way before the Crips and the Bloods in New York, and even the lowlifes and Deceps, the Tomahawks, who the New York Times alleged that even Mike Tyson was a member of, which would not surprise me one bit, was around in the time where it was a gang culture, but it wasn't as many gangs. And not only that, in every situation that they're described in, there seemed to be described as the biggest gang. And just as the stories I would hear about Akbar sounded like myths, more truth could be added to it when the New York Times write, where he lives all his life outside of jail, Akbar likes to ride one of 3 horses he owns through the streets and vacant lots. Like, what kind of shit is that? It was said that he would take the money from his role in the movie that was based on the life of his mentor, activist Sonny Carlson, and go on to start numerous businesses, a lot of them in Brownsville, helping the residents of the community. One of, I'm sure, the most profitable was described as a construction business, where he would pretty much pick up people from the neighborhood and take them to construction sites and go land jobs. But sometimes them situations would turn turbulent. The New York Times write about several, one of which being on July the 20th, 1981, when a massive demonstration in Midtown Manhattan, as hundreds of protesters from numerous coalitions stormed the major building sites, including the Trump Towers. Now, in that melee, 25 people were injured, including 13 cops. In describing that incident, they would say Akbar, who was 39 at the time, was scheduled to report later that month to begin to serve a 1-year prison sentence for gun possession and menacing, stemming from an incident that would occur in May, in which prosecutors would describe that he pointed a 9mm pistol at a cop. He would describe the incident by saying, "I was packing a 9mm to protect myself. We had people shooting in the door, calling up and making threats to me," saying even further that the incident was similar to dozens of scraps that he had with police since he left home at the age of 8. Saying, quote, "I got thrown out of school in the 1st grade when I threw a chair at a guy who attacked me." Finishing up with, "I never went back." 39 at the time, he would say, "I hope to learn to read while I'm inside this time." Now, that's a lot of accomplishments for a nigga that can't read. Now, I try to find as much information as I could on Derrick Akbar for his death, unsuccessfully, but that's where I hope y'all can come into play. If y'all know anything about the situation, or if y'all was around Brownsville in the 1970s, if y'all know anything about the Tomahawks, we definitely need y'all in the comment box. What's your favorite line from the Educations of Sonny Carlson, made famous by people like Ghostface and MOBB? If y'all haven't seen it, I would definitely recommend that y'all go check it out. Make sure y'all hit the red bell and subscribe button right under this video so y'all know when this real Trill Spill shit is dropping. Per usual, y'all let me know where we need to go to, what stories we need to tell, what I missed, what I got wrong, what gangsters we haven't covered yet. Tap in directly, Instagram, Twitter, POP_A_LOT. Till the next time, y'all know the verdict. Salute the almighty mob.